Listen, I know what you're thinking. Why does anyone build in the jungle? Well, the truth is, everything's kind of there to kill you. It's dark, it's scary, and it's a horrible place. But I'm going to show you exactly the kind of thing you could make with a little creativity and, well, no monsters. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Terraria World Tour video. Guys, in this one, we're going to be going through two builds that are very much focused on the organic side of things. So our first build is a kind of lost temple build that I made in the jungle. It is really cool. I really like the way this turned out. There's like a waterfall and there's like little features and it's dark and it's really awesome. So guys, for our second build, we're going to be looking at a bamboo forest build. Now this takes inspiration from our Japanese temple build, which we actually have a speed build for and covered recently in our most recent World Tour video. So it kind of plays off of that. It's compact, it's nice, it looks good, and it was my first attempt at it. So yeah, I liked it. So guys, if you're enjoying any of the content, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and of course, hit that little dinner bell thing, whatever that is, so it reminds you that a video is coming out, because it helps me out. I'll let you know when a new video is out, and of course, maybe one day we'll get into the algorithm, so we'll see what happens. Additionally, guys, you can find me on Twitch every day at 1:30 p.m., except for Wednesdays and Sundays. And specifically, guys, on Tuesdays, you'll find me doing our Terraria Tuesday stream, where we build with viewers and actually make all the builds that you see here on the channel. Oh, we do them there. So feel free to pop in, guys. Link is down below. And of course, feel free to just check it out, say hi, come join us for a build, or just yeah, learn how everything kind of comes together. All right. So with all that being said, let us jump into the build, guys. We've got two to show you. Let's do it quick. And as always, sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves, and we will see you on the backside. All right, guys, so here we are at the first build. Now, as always, I will highlight some of the materials that we're using. Now, this build is pretty big and extensive and looks very interesting, but honestly, there weren't that many blocks or sort of materials that were that complex. Like, a lot of it was basic stuff that I've used before. So what I will say was a little bit unique is I don't typically use lizard brick. This is not a unique block to the jungle at all, so it's pretty common. I also used a bit of bone block, and hence why you see the bone wand. Try to use a little bit of moss, which I believe we painted green, or we painted lime green. And speaking of paints, we also used some cyan and some negative paint, which I don't use that often. Beyond that, we also have some mottled stone and craggy stone. I just like these for background walls. Don't use them too much, but yeah, if there's anything else, guys, obviously feel free to pause here and you'll be able to see it. Now, I do also have smoke block in a few places. I believe I use this for the waterfall, and I don't remember how that turned out. We'll see that in a second. I believe these are painted negative as well, but I could be wrong. But again, feel free to pause here, guys, and just check out all the materials that we're using. If there's anything that you're not sure of, feel free to just leave me a comment down below or a question, and that way I can answer and let you know what it is I used. All right, so with that being said, guys, let us get down to the build. All right, so I know from here, guys, it doesn't look like much, but this is where this all starts. We have to actually dig this out. This is where all the lizard brick is. It's very kind of simple and straightforward. I didn't want to go crazy. It's all painted brown for the most part, so you're gonna need a lot of brown paint. But the first thing we decided to do was actually get sort of this entrance with some pillars and kind of a sort of broken foundation. A lot of bloodroot was used, guys, as well, painted lime green, just to match. We want to make this look nice. We also then have a more destroyed looking pillar down here, or sort of gateway, entryway, whatever you want to call it. And again, nothing too crazy here. This is some palladium column, and then we get right into bits and pieces here of the pink dungeon brick, or block, I should say, and that kind of just so it doesn't blend directly into our lizard brick. Again, this is all painted brown, guys, very simple. And then we have, to make it look like it's a bit destroyed, the pillar is actually just got some brown painted stone block as well. You can't see it too well, but at the top we try to make a little topper to make it look kind of interesting. We put some chairs and a statue, and it looks okay. Again, I don't know what I would change here. I think I actually really like the way this turned out. Maybe we'd add a bit more background here, walls of some kind, but I didn't want to go too crazy. And of course, we added some trees for a bit more well, jungle feel. Nothing crazy here, guys. The pillars, we just tried to make something kind of that was really symmetrical, but overgrown. So again, the same mechanic we use here, which is going to be some pillars with our dungeon block here. A lot more dungeon, pink dungeon block is being used. And then we add some platforms and a lot of background wall, which is a mix of mudstone and just normal wood blocks, or sorry, not wood blocks, stone blocks, and then stone brick, some lizard brick, and of course, we paint that all brown. Now you can also see we added some bloodroot painted black here. This is a little feature that you may not think about, but it adds like cracks into the sort of build. It looks like cracks in the actual build, and it actually looks really good. Now I believe this is painted shadow paint. It might be black, but I believe it's shadow paint. And then obviously we just made these and painted this with wall that is also shadow paint. So it looks like it's a kind of an Aztec style temple. So beyond that, guys, a lot of small detail work here is just literally just putting in random bricks here and there. This has some platforms that I then attached to a chair and then put a statue similar to the topper over here. I could have maybe made that topper on this one to make it a little bit, I guess, more interesting, a little bit different. We also connected our palladium column to some of the lizard brick here. Again, all painted brown, just to give it kind of a different feel. It looks pretty good, but you can see sometimes it doesn't blend properly, like right here, because it is not attached to anything. This is actually all wall. So it does leave a little bit to be desired when you don't get it to work exactly the way you want. But these are some of the small blemishes that you may not notice. But when you build it, you yeah, at closer inspection, you'll notice these little things, or at least I do. And it's not a big deal, it's fine, but it would have been nice if that worked out. Another thing we did, guys, is we used this sort of same technique to give this a bit more thickness, is we did some mahogany wall here. It just adds a bit of thickness in the background, and painted that brown as well. So again, guys, I know this looks really complex, but really all it is a couple platforms in the foreground that are using blocks, and then just building it symmetrically on each side. And then we just put some black wall or some shadow painted wall in the background to give it the look that there's an entrance or doorway. And then we just kind of build from there. So, you know, all this looks very crazy and dark and whatever, but it's really just a lot of walls. And then I put some random blocks in front of it, some platforms here and there, and it just kind of turned out. So let's move on to the waterfall, guys. You'll be able to see it all in its entirety, and you'll get a good feel for what this looks like. So I absolutely love the way this waterfall turned out. Now, again, I built a waterfall a little while ago. Again, you should see that in the speed build. It's actually inspired by Chaos. This one, I just took some of the stuff I learned and just made my own. So the smoke block here, as you can see, this is painted with negative paint, and it just gives it a bit of life. And I really want to make this very uneven and make it feel like it was just cascading a bit more. So I really like the way this turned out. A lot of vegetation, a lot of plants. We added fog machines, so it looks like it's kind of like, you know, it has that kind of misty feel, or that kind of humid feel, like where you were in a jungle. So I really like that. I could have maybe added more smoke machines here and there and just kind of, you know, just give it a bit more of that vibe, but I wanted this to be very clean. So here we use some of that craggy stone and mottled stone, and then just put some leaves and some jungle wall in the background. I just really want to make it very overgrown. So, you know, you randomly place some stone, you put some moss on it, and then you put some strange plants painted lime green, and it'll come together really quickly, guys. There isn't a plan for this. I just started building. Again, guys, if you want to see how this all came together, do check out the speed build video for the Lost Temple build. I think I can link it here. If I can't, you will find it in the channel. So another thing I want to do, guys, is add little flecks of this sort of, you know, actual stonework in the background to make it look like it had been built up. So you'll see little bits and pieces where I added like a brick wall or stone wall of some kind that's like looks more appropriate for an actual building and not just craggy stone. Now the reason I did that was I wanted to feel like it was actually built in or built out from the main build, and it feels more like an ancient ruin than it does a well put together build. So this is meant to feel kind of organic, and it's kind of running over the rest of the design. So again, I really love the way this turned out. Not so happy with this. Now the reason I had to keep these here, guys, is because I had to put smoke machines, and I also wanted a bit more overgrowth. And I believe when I first built this was quite shallow, so I ended up digging this out later, and this sort of stayed. So not perfect in terms of design, but again, you can kind of, your eye doesn't get drawn to it too much, which I do think is good. And again, overall, all the stonework and just having some hammered blocks here where the water can fall and then cascade again, and the smoke, it just really all came together. Okay, guys, so there is a Lost Temple build. Again, what I was looking to do with this was really just build something that was kind of dark and mysterious and just different. And I think someone mentioned to build something like this, and I found a design online that I really liked and used as the reference. So this came together relatively well because of that. But again, you can see on the map, it takes up a good chunk of space. It's quite big, but it's really cool. And I just wanted something that was kind of that sort of run down theme, but in the jungle, which I don't usually build in. So again, let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys, if you like the build or if you have any questions. Other than that, let us move on to our second build. All right, guys, welcome to our second build. Now, as I said, this is a bamboo forest build. First one I've ever attempted, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit different, but it turned out pretty good. It's fairly compact, and here are all the materials you're going to need. So the first thing we're going to look at that looks very interesting to us is, well, nothing. There's nothing that crazy. There's a bit of bamboo, which obviously you're going to expect in a bamboo forest, a lot of strange plants, and of course we're using some deep lime paint and some deep green paint because, again, bamboo is going to be various shades of green. That is what we wanted to go with. And then we use some bamboo walls, both the big and the small. And then we actually use a little bit of living leaf wall as well. And the only thing that might be a bit standout or different is the crimstone brick wall. Don't typically use this, but you'll see where I use it immediately because there's really only one piece that has that. All this is going to be a bit more background. And of course, we use the Krampus horn wall as well. But other than that, guys, this is all very basic. So I do recommend you pause here if you want to know what blocks I use. If you do have any questions about anything, if you're not sure what something is, just by looking at it, leave me a quick little message and I will get back to you on that. And we'll hopefully be able to answer that question. So with that said, guys, let us get to the build. All right, guys, so here we go. As promised, a small and compact bamboo forest. Now, if you're familiar with the sort of design here, well, I took this design from our Japanese temple build that we've previously made. Now you can see that again as a speed build, and we covered it recently in our previous world tour video, so it is there and you can kind of see it, but the theme stands out. The difference is the temple is actually in the background and the foreground is the bamboo forest. Now, I've never made one of these before, guys, so I wanted to make something that was kind of, you know, wooded and small and interesting, and really was quite easy to make. So what we did was we took a lot of bamboo wall, painted that dark green, and we also took some normal bamboo blocks or thick bamboo blocks or large bamboo blocks and just put them in the foreground. So we just mixed up the lime colors and the dark green colors, or the deep lime, I should say, and the deep green or green paint. And it really turned out really good. And in between that, guys, we tried to blend in a lot of leaves and a lot of background wall. And again, I think we could have used a different wall. We could use a scab, crimson scab wall. We could have used that for leaves. The crimson scab wall would have been something that might have looked a little bit more textured in the background, which is probably a good thing to do. Now, another thing I really liked was the way that this turned out. So this is not a false foundation, obviously, but this foundation just has, I don't know, just has a bit of a design to it. I believe this is Evanstone. I could be wrong about that, but I believe this is Evanstone, and we just added randomly just some stone, some basic stone blocks. And I think the blending of it it looks good. It looks like it's a bit grown over, you know, adding a little bit of texture here by adding a little bit of a pile of dirt that's covered, and over here, it breaks it up. If this was all flat, I think it would be very boring. We also tried to add in a lot of these plants, the strange plants, painted green. We could have painted a few lime green. I think that might have been the right play here, because everything's a bit mundane, it's a bit all the same, but it does work. We wanted that to stand out, but again, you could play with the colors a bit more. I think different greens here might look a little better, and you also want to make sure you vary the height of things. So you know, we're breaking things up. We have platforms that cap certain things. Like here, you can see we did some column here. So this is I believe this is palladium column that we put in green, and you can see it here too. So it blends in nicely. It fits. But we also broke it up with some platforms and some leaves, and you want to have a lot of texture here, a lot of differences. You can't really see it here, but there is a platform right here, and I believe this is actuated. So a lot of actuation was used as well, and we just wanted to have this look like a bamboo forest. Now you could make this a lot bigger and not have something in the background. You could have all kinds of things. You could have this open up, like high bamboo that opens up in the middle, and there's like a little pond or something, and then it continues. You could do it where the pagoda is actually visible and not in the background. So there's a lot of cool things you could do with a build like this. But thematically, guys, this is really simple. I actually really like the way this turned out. And it just came out in a way that, was a little unexpected because I went at it in a random way. So again, nothing too crazy about this one, guys. As I said, use the bamboo walls and the bamboo blocks, and then you want to use just some mixed variation of greenery or foliage, which in this case, I just went with leaves or leaf wall in the background, standard leaf wall, and it turned out pretty good. Now, that being said, I think we could have replaced this with the crimson scab wall because that one added a bit more texture. And the reason we kept some gaps here, guys, is so that some of the plants move, because if they are surrounded by a wall, they will not move. They'll stay fixed like this one. So another thing to keep in mind is if you want that movement, you're going to need a bit of space. Now, finally, guys, I did make these clouds. They're a little bit lazy. You could make your clouds a lot more interesting or intricate, but I just really grabbed a cloud wall and just plopped them down in different spots. And I think it just adds a nice little layer to it without, not being too in your face. You don't really think about them too much, but they are there. All right, guys, so that's it for this build, and that's it All right, guys, so that's it for this build. I hope you guys like it. And yeah, it's a pretty simple one. I definitely recommend you try it. But as always, if you have any questions, guys, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I will happily answer anything related to this build or the Lost Temple build. All right, guys, so there you go. There are 2 builds for today's World Tour. Hope you guys enjoyed them. As always, guys, these builds take a little while to put together, but I do enjoy breaking down a little bit of the technique, obviously the materials, and of course the philosophy a little bit behind it. No big philosophy in this one. I just really wanted to make a jungle build. I thought it turned out really good. And of course, the bamboo forest was something I'd seen and I was like, I want to try that. And because we obviously made the Japanese temple build a week or 2 prior, it just kind of made sense. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the builds. Of course, as always, guys, if you have any questions or comments, concerns, or weren't sure what I was doing or how I did it or anything, just leave a comment down below, guys. I will get back to you. Also, if you're enjoying the builds, guys, feel free to check out some of the other ones on the channel. We got a bunch, and we got a bunch more coming your way. So definitely tune in for those when they hit the YouTube channel. And with that, we are done with today's video. So guys, as always, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. We will see you in the next one.